Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the Weekly Comic Roundup. We're in the home stretch now, so let's kick things off with Star Wars number 34. Where we left off, Luke, Leia, Lando, and Chewie, as well as Lobot and Holdo, had returned from null space with the fuel from with at least part of the long missing convoy. However, Luke's lightsaber had been damaged while in null space, and the Force seemed to be acting up. So we begin on home one. Luke's in his quarters, trying to figure out how to fix the lightsaber he's been using. But the text that he has is really about kind of the more philosophical rather than instructional. And his lightsaber is, well, a little, isn't exactly reliable. He knows where you can find kyber crystals, but the main place you can find them, Ilum, is currently under heavy Imperial occupation, so yeah, no way he can get there. But he explains he explains this to Leia that he needs to get a new crystal he needs to build a new lightsaber, and he needs to get a kyber crystal. But he's found some potential other planets that have kyber crystals, though not in the massive amount that Ilum does. And so he goes to Christophsis. Figuring, find the mining operation, this kind of thing where, people he hoped to find a kyber crystal while mining for other gems and sell that for a decent amount of money. Goes into a bar to ask around about it, about try to get information into the to get in contact with the planet's black market. However, pretty much everyone in the bar gets shot by a woman named Greta. Greta's a Falanasi. Her family was on Jeddah when it was pretty much laid waste by the Death Star's first test. But she knows where they can get a kyber crystal, and she'll take him there. So yeah, they do. So Luke goes with Greta, and they're attacked by a rather large beastie, which eats Greta's speeder, and then Luke tries to calm it down, but a local then destroys the creature, and then asks for Luke's lightsaber, and that is where the issue ends. Interesting start to a new arc. Of course, and as I stated previously, there are plot beats that have to be hit for the period between Empire and Jedi, namely Luke constructing a new lightsaber. And it looks like we're going to be going along that route and seeing how the build up to that. So, moving on though to our next book, we've got Darth Vader number 33. Where we left off, Sabe had opted to stay to remain in Vader's service, and in fact tricked Yul Tambor into revealing his plan to take over Skako Minor, which caused his followers to revolt. But there are other things Vader has to deal with. There's a surge in the Force, which appears to be affecting Sly Moore as well as the Emperor and Vader. The Emperor is reveling in one of the swells of it, though Vader has lost control of his Force abilities, and is tearing apart the Executor. Sabe seals off the corridor and ejects Vader into space, but then makes the point of grabbing a shuttle to pick him up. But he's still unable to control his force abilities, and the shuttle crashes on a nearby planet. Vader explains to Sabe what's going on, but even on the planet, Vader instructs her to leave him as he's not in control. And but as the issue wraps up, he states that this is no longer. Vader states this is no longer his test; it is hers. The same lesson again and again. Hate leads to suffering, or hate leads to power. And today, Sabe chooses. This kind of makes me think that perhaps Sabe's force sensitive, and that's been part of why Vader has made a point of taking her under his wing, is to make her a maybe not so much, to a degree, his something equivalent to the Secret Apprentice that was utilized in The Force Unleashed. But we shall see. If that's the case, it's very interesting. There are some. It definitely raises more than a few questions. But interesting issue. Moving on to our next book, we've got Dr. Aphra number 31. Where we left off, the Spark Eternal had been removed from Aphra, and she appeared to be back to normal. So she, at where she's at, she knows she still has a scar from where the spark had embedded itself on her chest. She talks to those that were recruited by Sana Staros. Her and Magna argue, and Magna leaves in a huff. But Sana kind of makes a point that explains why it was that she recruited Magna for the job. And Aphra is open and honest with Magna about things, and explain they both care a great deal for one another. Neither is willing to put the other first. Eustacia has asks Aphra's father to guest lecture at on the Ordu Aspectu at the Shadow University, but Kofan Pharos, it does appear that one of the other members of the crew, they share a kiss, and the illusion of sharing more than that is definitely set up. Just Lucky proposes to Ariel Yu, though it's kind of a, don't answer now, think about it, and then after Magna leaves, Sana and Aphra talk, and Sana admits that she's in love with Aphra, but the thing is that Aphra can't say it back. With Sana telling her goodbye, and when Aphra figures herself out, come find her. Sometime later on the planet Numidian Prime, Luke Skywalker is exploring the planet and returns with his X-Wing to find R2 when he's shut off, and he's hit with some knockout gas by Aphra, who wants to know how he feels about a little adventure. And that is where the issue ends. And at least starting the next, I guess, for the next few months, we'll be seeing Luke as a as a constant guest star in Dr. Aphra. An interesting setup for that. It'll be. I am quite curious to see what the adventure she has in mind is. So. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Star Wars Lando, one of the Return of the Jedi one-shots. So, at the end of Empire Strikes Back, Lando betrayed Han, leading to Han being frozen in carbonite and eventually taken to Jabba the Hutt. But and since the Empire had betrayed Lando, he kind of found himself in the unenviable position of basically having to join the rebellion because he had nowhere else to go. And, well, not everyone, for good reason, not everyone in the rebellion trusts him. So, Lando's trying to buy schematics to Jabba the Hutt's palace, but Chewie's patience is wearing thin, to say the least. The initial charge is 5,000 credits, but after Chewie attacks the information broker, it gets doubled to 10,000. But an associate of the information broker points out, though, that Lando has a bounty on him more than the 10,000 credits that the information broker is trying to get from him. Lando comes up with an idea, goes to a local casino, meeting with Ellison, asking to borrow 10,000 credits, and she's just like, no. So he suggests that he'll play her for it, which she immediately interprets as he'll cheat her for it. That he'll cheat her again. And it's not like he exactly has much to put up for collateral. But Chewie volunteers, saying that he'll do 10. If Ellison wins, he'll do 10 jobs for her. So the first hand of Sabacc, he doesn't go his way. Second hand, Ellison ends up with a fleet, which is one of the best hands in the game, but not the best, as Lando has a full Sabacc. But as they're about to play the last hand, dealing, calling, raising, both of them going all in. The casino's attacked by Imperials, looking to take Lando into custody. Lando and Ellison deal with them with some help from Chewie. The officer leading the stormtroopers is knocked into a animal fighting pit by Lando and becomes lunch. Chewie helps Lando out, but still doesn't yet. Lando hasn't managed to get the plans, and so they're leaving. But Ellison sends him contacts him via explaining that she transferred some data over the Falcon. And it's something he was looking for, and it's the schematic for Jabba's palace, which she claims she asked nicely for. Though Ellison also asked that Lando doesn't come back soon. And as Lando and Chewie leave the planet, Lando says they've just got just about everything they need to save Han. And that is where the issue ends. It's a fun little one-shot. I'm guessing that Lando getting his skiff guard attire is going to be something that occurs in the next few months. It is mentioned that before this, Lando tried to sneak in, tried to get into Jabba's palace, but too many secret passages, and it's referencing something that will happen in the issue of Star Wars in a few months. So, yeah. Moving on, though, to our last book for the week, we've got Star Wars Yoda, number 7. Where we left off, Yoda was on Dagobah, ruminating about the past. The last arc was pre-Clone Wars. I would say probably even before the events of Episode 1. But I'd say in that case only barely. Or before the events of Episode 1 or close or shortly thereafter. So, and they're presumably, I would presume the spirit of Qui-Gon is talking to him and trying to get Yoda to do something. But he says, the problems, the Empire, the dark side, Vader, the Emperor, too powerful. Too big of a threat, nothing he can do about it. But he's reminded that the first thing he teaches, he always taught apprentices. Size matters not. So during the Clone Wars, an intelligence asset for the Republic informs a hooded figure about a weapon that is being worked on by Separatists, Operation Titan. Doesn't know too much about it, but enough. The cloaked figure turns out to be Yoda standing on top of his astromech, R9L9. But Yoda reports to the council about this, and as Anakin has recently taken a confiscated Separatist Munificent class frigate, well, check the database, see if there's anything about it. Anakin finds something, and Yoda joins him. So they head to the two of them headed to the planet Athenium aboard the Separatist ship. Yoda sneaks into the facility, though Anakin is eager to join him. However, Yoda points out that it's not like they can just grab some uniforms and blend in. So Yoda's diminutive size is an asset. And while moving through the vent, he sees Grievous talking with tactical droid about Operation Titan. And when they leave, he slips out of the vent and to find out what he can. And is interrupted by General Grievous. And so Grievous and Yoda have a brief lightsaber duel. Grievous's headpiece takes a lightsaber hit. Yoda defeats him and also steals the lightsaber that Grievous was using. But the battle droids are aware that they've been infiltrated, and so they attack. Yoda takes out a sizable number of them with his 2 lightsabers, and as the ship leaves, Yoda decides that him and Anakin are going to have to take down Operation Titan, which consists of megadroids that are about 4 times taller than a human. Though Anakin points out they should have known there's nothing stopping the Separatists from building bigger battle droids. Though the name Megadroid is entirely subtle. And that is where the issue ends. And that is going to do it for this week's roundup. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to the, and I forgot to do that with the last video, but links to the giveaway launch video, as well as my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.